Cam here with Cen-Pe-Co Lubricants, fuel additives. Kennon Gumm with Nutrien Ag Solutions. I guess we can talk a little bit about how we got started, how I got started with this, and what you guys think.
Okay. Well, I think basically, Cam, you come to me and asked me if I was interested in trying an fuel additive that's good for injectors in our diesel engines and get us some better mileage. And I said, yeah, we'd try some. And we basically started out with a few gallons at a time in our diesel tank, and the fuel guy puts it in for us every time based off what he puts in. And I guess the thing that we noticed most of all here right away is some of my newer trucks that the guys were watching their miles per gallon because they got to write it down every day, you know, how much usage they have, is a lot of our trucks were picking up 1 mile per gallon across the board. So that was the first thing we seen. The second thing long term is we used to have some trouble with fuel injector systems and stuff and injectors going out of trucks. And I could honestly say we've been doing this for about 1.5 years now. Mm-hmm. I had my first truck that I had in for injector replacement since we started using it the last 1.5 years, just this last month. But otherwise, I've had no injector trouble, and I was usually having one truck in a month for that. So,
yeah, have you noticed you don't have much with DEF, do you, right now?
Nope, I got a couple of vehicles with DEF. What I have noticed on them, one of them is one of my trucks that goes on the road every day, and probably what I've seen is he doesn't pull up to put DEF in probably quite as often as what he did in the past, and I think it's helping that truck just in general as a whole. So
yeah, I think you'll notice it. You know, further down the road, you'll notice. You know, your particulate filters and stuff won't get plugged.
We'll know a little more. We got three new trucks coming with DEF in them here coming up this in a couple months.
Put it to the test again, but yeah, I was after Kennon for, I don't want to say years, but probably years. Let's try something, and it's like yeah. It's a tough thing to sell. I mean, to somebody that doesn't see there's an issue, and then you show them what you can do with it if you can get them to try it.
We kind of live in a business world here where my guys that work in the shop are actually a lot of the truck drivers themselves also, and you know, probably the guy that does most of my maintenance work on the trucks, he was the first one to notice it and watch it, and he was the first one to come to ever say anything to me because he was watching it. He says, you know, you ain't gonna believe this, but he says this whole week, he said I picked up 1 mile per gallon. And I think about that over all the trucks. If every one of them was doing that, that is a huge savings at the end of the year for me. So we burn through 100,000 gallons of fuel a year here. So usually,
cool.
But we could do the math.
Yeah, yeah. Have you noticed it in your row gators or anything like that? Have you noticed much difference?
Again, we have a system that we watch them on that kind of our company and John Deere built together, and I can watch their fuel consumption by hours, and I can also watch, you know, how much they're burning per day. Probably what I can pinpoint out of them, and you got to be careful for the type of tires they're on there. We run floats on them or skinny row crop, so you have to kind of pull your times a year apart what's on them, because the bigger tires with the hydraulics, it takes more fuel to roll them. But I think all in all, what I've seen with those machines is I think their fuel tank goes a little longer. Especially I got a custom 4-wheel drive tractor that we do custom ammonia with, and we don't have to take in fuel near as often in that thing. But the thing that gets me is probably most of all is is on those machines, just like the trucks, those John Deere machines would have injector trouble all the time. You know, after about year 2, I try to trade the sprayers and stuff every 3 years, but usually about year 2, you'd have an injector problem where it show up as on the screen, you know, that you got an injector going on or whatever, and have to have somebody come fix it. I'd say in the last 1.5 years, I have not had that on any machine. So I'm not saying that's fixing it, but I'm not saying it's not helping it either. So
perfect. Well, hopefully we can get the rest of the Nutrien team together and get everybody a barrel of this stuff to run through their equipment and show them the fuel savings. And
well, we started with gallon jugs, and now we're at 55-gallon barrels. So